Hey team, how are you? This is a fun segment. This is a segment called Knowing Your Coach. It's important you know your coach, his background, his expertise, and his just the way he operates and the way or he or she operates in her fitness background and some good things. I'm going to make this simple but not so simple. I was born in Sudbury, Ontario, Sudbury General Hospital. I was raised on Kennedy Street. I went to Carl A. Nesbitt Grade School, LaSalle High School, Sudbury Secondary, and Cambrian College. So I'm a Sudbury boy through and through. And then our family moved to Lake Ramsey for the last few years. And that's before we left for Florida. So I was raised here, brought up here, and know everybody who came to my club, and I know the area. You get to know people. And Sudburyans are a tough crew. They're a tough crew, and I respect that, and I'm proud to be a Sudburyan. But that's how I started as far as where I went to school and my education. And then I thought, I want to open a gym. So I did some research, and I went down to Toronto, and I studied, did some clubs down there, and did some research. And then when I came back, I said, okay, I know what I want. I want to open up a gym. I want to call it Gold's Gym. And I want to build it from scratch, and I want to finance it from scratch, which I did. It's called a loan shark. So my family, didn't have a lot, so I had to do pretty much all by myself. So we built the gym, me and my father, and we put it together. We ran it for 10 years. During that 10 years was the most amazing time of my life. I got married. The gym opened up in 81. I got married to Deborah Stewart in 86, and I also was in the Canadian Championships in 1988, where I was the strongest man in Canada, in the Commonwealth Games in Manitoba. And then we competed in Quebec. I competed in Quebec for the strongman contest. So I was all about being in great shape. So I was in great shape when I lived back in Sudbury. I was in great shape. When I left Sudbury, me and my ex-wife packed up in a little car and 4 cats and drove across the border. And 30 years later, the story. So when we got to Florida, I was in great shape. So I decided to enter some bodybuilding shows just to make a name for myself, because as a personal trainer, that's the thing to do. So I was very fortunate. I put together a great program for myself, and I won overall Florida 3 times in a row: Naples, Sarasota, Tampa. And I was very successful at bodybuilding because I knew nutrition. I knew how to do it. I knew how to put it together to maximize the best physique possible. So once that was all done, and we won the shows, then I came back to a little town called Aventura, Florida, where I became a personal trainer, 20 years, working in the gyms, teaching, working the gyms. Then I met a man named Mike Schustic, who was a very prominent businessman in Las Vegas. He hired me as his bodyguard. I just had some good fighting skills, let's put it that way, from being raised on the streets of Sudbury and played a lot of hockey. So because of my fighting skills, we'll call it, and I was also a personal trainer, Mike hired me as a personal trainer / bodyguard, just kind of like the Jason Stratham thing. So I worked with him for years, and we traveled all over the United States. We literally jet set it because he had a jet, and we jetted all over Hawaii, Las Vegas, San Diego, Florida, of course, and everywhere else in between for his business. So I learned a lot. I traveled a lot. I learned a lot. Went to a lot of different places, a lot of different fitness centers, and worked with a lot of different people. I work with a lot of celebrities. One of the celebrities I always like to mention is Beto Perez, the Zumba guy. Me and Beto kind of got the business together, and look at Beto now. So he was one of the guys that I trained, that I worked with, and I worked with some boxers, and I worked with some other people that were a lot of fun to work with. So after all those years of working in Florida, I decided I wanted to come home. My father was ill, and it was time. I was 30 years in Florida, so with all my training, all my experience, everything that I've done, I used to run from running marathons, racing the Aventura races, which is like your Spartan race. Did a lot of triathlon races, did a lot of 5K races, did a lot of different outdoor training, kayaking racing, mountain bike racing, street race bike racing. So I did a lot of outdoor sports because I was all excited about being in Florida and want to train outdoors. Well, that's where everything happened. That's where I got beat up, and I got broke this ankle, pulled this bicep, and did a lot of damage. So by the end of it, I wasn't into competing anymore. I just wanted to teach. So to make a long story short, which is not getting much shorter after 5 minutes, I came back to Sudbury, and I came back to my roots. It's ironic that when I sold my gym to Ron Hache had the gym and moved it over to the warehouse on Spark Street. We were above the Michaud Pharmacy for 10 years. And then Ron Hache sold the gym to Troy. Troy was actually one of my members as a young fella. He started training, I think 15 years old. He started coming to the gym and working hard. So he started, and I'm glad to see he's been so successful in all his endeavors and everything he's done. I work over with Troy a little bit, and I really enjoy watching him operate and everything that he does at his facility. It's not easy to run a gym, especially after going through everything with COVID and stuff. So I'm happy that he made it through, and that he's continuing and very successful. He's very successful, so I'm happy to be with Troy. Then we got into online training. Online training is my new venture. I've been doing online training for a little bit now and build up a pretty big clientele, and it's still growing. And what I market on my online training is my weight loss program. The reason why I market the weight loss program is when I came back to Sudbury, I was hearing about friends of mine that have died because of heart attacks. And that kind of got me thinking and got me churning in my head. My father had 3 heart attacks, and it's in my family. And I was carrying a big belly. I was about 220 pounds. I was a lazy coach. By that time, I was just walking around coaching. Wasn't training as hard as I should. Wasn't eating as the best I should. So I got fat. And you'll see pictures. I'll show you a picture when I got my fat belly. So I know about how it feels to have a fat belly. So I swore when I came back to Sudbury, I would get myself in the best shape I can when I left Sudbury, because this is the place I love to train. And this is the place it seems that I get in the best shape. So that's pretty much it as far as, a 10-year span, 20-year span, and 30-year span from Sudbury to Florida and back again. Love to coach, love my online program, and just wanted to give you a little bit about who I am, my bio, and hope to see you soon, team. Thank you, online or in person over at Troy's. Take care. Bye-bye.